we are about to swim through some garbage, so let's do it. I also think for this week's garbage, between the three things that you shared, there's plenty. There's plenty. I don't think we have to move on to any other topic. So I pulled up the Carlin, the Maron, and the Atkinson thing, respectively.
Oh. I mean, they're all sort of tied into the same bit.
Yes,
but yeah, go ahead.
But Rowan Atkinson, I want to once again have a platform where I bitch and moan about how cancel culture isn't real in the way that a lot of people think. Anyways. So, why don't you get us started on Carlin and what got you thinking about punching down?
Yeah, I mean, there has been, since Trump's victory in 24, well, and I would say even since the post-COVID craze,
Correct, that's what I
the
was gonna say.
right-wing surge, I want to say like 2022, there has been a very strong undercurrent in the online comedian bro-Rogan space. That is just anti-woke, anti-Joe Biden, which I guess I don't really need to throw Joe Biden in there, but it's all sort of tied into this big package of, like, fuck what they perceive mainstream to be.
Who's they, real quick?
When I say they, I mean the right-wing sphere, which includes the Joe Rogan, that comedy group. Right, like he's got a bunch of bros who all moved to Austin, and he's got the Mothership, which I believe is the name of his comedy club down there.
Yep, been there.
And there is a thread that weaves through every single one of those comedians that will punch trans people right in the face.
Yeah,
just for sake of a laugh, and I don't know, like to them they're being anti-mainstream or anti status quo, I suppose. Which I guess
when
you
was
could
the
have
status
argued
quo to be trans? But go ahead.
Again, this is under
It's
the Biden
trans
admin.
panic. Yeah.
This is right, but it's yeah. Well, nonetheless, so I saw a short by this guy, Marc Maron.
Yeah, let's
where
play
he's
it real
basically
quick. Let's play it real
yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
At this point, it's lazy and sloppy and hackneyed. You know, to be in a club where, you know, I'm walking down the hall at the comedy club, and, you know, in one room, someone's doing their bit about trans people, and then I get down the hall and there's someone on stage going, well, I guess I got to do my bit about trans people. Like, no, you don't. You don't. It's hack now. I mean, you know, you guys got the freedom you wanted. You can now say whatever you want. They're defeated. Their rights have been denied. The policies that you guys encouraged with your stupid material are now policy. And now, like, you know, half the people under the umbrella of anti-woke, we've lost a tremendous amount of democratic-leaning ideas and movements. So whether they knew it or not, that's what they were spearheading. So now it's reality, and you want to still keep kicking them? Go ahead.
I don't know that the comedians have had that much power.
Are you f***ing out of your mind?
No, I'm being serious.
Joe Rogan. I'm not gonna.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, you can't separate. Like, if the movement is like, you know, we're being censored. No, you're not. You're not. There's no constitutional censorship issue with your free speech.
True.
You say things, and in a democratic shit show of an environment, you know, like Twitter or whatever, there's cultural pushback, but that's a specific issue. To frame it as some sort of free speech problem was a misdirect.
Correct.
It wasn't. It wasn't a free speech problem. It was that people were getting cultural pushback. That is not a constitutional issue. No one was being put in jail for saying anything. That's a free speech issue. But my problem is you're going to start talking about anti-woke, and that's going to be your point of view. That's going to be your ideological, you know, grounding for what you do. Okay, that's fine. But why does it have to be the same four things? You know, it's like they talk about the same shit. And I don't know a better definition of hack. I mean, after a certain point, it's like, you know, what juice does the word really have? How much do you have to give trans people? You know, what is your big problem with gay people? What's your big problem with women? It's like, what is this, 80s again?
So before I let you, like, share your thoughts and keep rolling here, this is my spirit animal, because I often think the way this man does, and I often and you know this with my other channel that I have, I also have the same kind of delivery, which is like, I don't give a fuck. There's too many times that people who fight for marginalized people, do it in a very political and buttoned up way. Fuck that. Who cares? This is 2025. I think we can all agree, whether you agree with this guy or not, is the age of anti-establishment. And if you're going to come out here, whatever your message is, whether you're conservative, liberal, or God knows what, and be all buttoned up and prim and proper and deliver shit like Pete Buttigieg, nobody wants it. Nobody wants it. You got to get in the fight. You got to fucking deliver with some entertainment, but not just that. Deliver with some gusto, some like passion. Not just come out here and be like, well, I think we should probably be nicer to trans people. It's like, no, fuck that. Sorry, go ahead.
I mean, you're basically, I mean, you're saying this guy's your spirit animal. George Carlin would probably be your spirit animal.
Yeah, true.
Certainly not everything he says, but certainly the way he delivers
Correct.
it is just an unapologetic lambasting of dumb ideas, essentially.
There's so many other ways to say it's a big fucking club and you're not in it, but he chose that because it hit, it delivered, it was entertainment. It was like, holy shit, right.
And it still hits, buddy.
No,
that
does.
shit still fucking hits.
And in the same respect, I go back and watch old Obama speeches, and I'm like, why do we think this guy's some charismatic? Like, he's boring as fuck. Sorry, go ahead.
I'd push back a little bit on that, but I get what you mean. He's definitely he's buttoned up. He was less buttoned up than the politicians at that time, just to be clear. I mean, 2008 was a different sort of American politics, but...
What did this video spark in your mind, though?
Well, so I scrolled past this, and at the top of the comment section, somebody had posted the Carl Sagan clip, where he essentially is talking about what this guy is talking about, but in the 80s, or like the 90s, I want to say. Whereas essentially is... when comedy is a tool for criticizing particularly those in power or people who think they are unimpeachable, right? Those are the ones that, out of everybody else, need to be poked at the most, because your shit does not, right? Like having a my shit doesn't stink attitude is something that has to be torn down at least slightly.
Yes.
Which to me, you know, when you're dunking on trans people in 2025 and Donald Trump is president, like, that is the definition of punching down, right? These people have, he says here, these people have lost. Their rights are constantly being just stripped away. Mm-hmm. Their respect in general public and polite society is gone. Why are we?
And also, don't you think that they're actually, even in 2025, in the year where Trump is president, don't you think there is still a way to joke about trans people? But the way some people do it is lazy, sloppy, and just feels hateful. But by the way, and I think Nord would agree with me here. We both agree there's a way to make fun of anything. There really is. You can thread that needle. Some people are really good at it, and some people aren't. But you can thread a needle on anything. I don't care. It's just how you do it, the way you deliver it, all fucking matters. And if you're lazy, sloppy, and riding on just, you have 2 million subscribers on YouTube and you don't have to try hard anymore, it looks hateful and shitty. So.
Well, again, and it's like, when your comedy consists of just saying the word retard out loud, you're not clever.
No.
You're not clever. I'm sorry.
It's tough.
It's like just shock humor for the sake of shock humor. Shock humor can be well done, but saying it just because it's offensive is just brain dead comedy. Dude, the only person laughing at that, I just have no respect for you. I'm sorry.
And even saying
nothing
it's humor is wrong. It's just shock. It's just shock.
Right.
You know.
It's like a 9/11 joke just because people died that day. Like, no, that's not why 9/11 jokes can be funny.
That's so terrible.
It truly is lazy. It's lazy. So to me, and I think there is a bit of a reckoning here, even just 6 months into Trump's presidency. It seems like the likes of Joe Rogan are pulling the reins back because they know that the cultural tone has shifted. So it does feel like you are a hack if you're still dunking on trans folks in 2025, because you are a hack. The power has shifted, and now you're punching people in the face that have already been beat up on.
Yep.
Right? It's not funny. And I'm not going to stand here and say that you shouldn't do that comedy. but I'm gonna stand here and say you're a bad comedian if that's the comedy you do.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I used to listen to JRE, and for that and many other reasons I don't. So there's their punishment from me, right? Nobody's saying like this Marc's guy's point. Like nobody took your free speech away. You're not going to jail because that's ridiculous.
Correct.
So you might lose some subscribers and some people might lose respect for you, and that's the way it works. Like,
yeah, that's the marketplace of free ideas.
It reminds me of like
choose for their attention.
It reminds me of, and I wish people. I hate to say would be more mature, but I feel like that's the only way I can say it. It reminds me of like the fact that you can criticize out of power, no problem, and everyone can cheer and agree because, hey, look, the people who do have the power aren't doing it right. But the minute you have the power, shit changes.
Yep.
Shit changes, bro. And that vibe shifts. And it's crazy because I feel like the same people who would make fun of trans people and then when the vibe shifts, they stop, still don't register in their mind that their earlier rhetoric can lead to like some really negative things happening. Somehow that doesn't set in until the next person actually does take power, and they're like, oh. So I don't know. It just reminds me of that.
Right. Here are the consequences of my actions. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do fucking... Is it Howie Mandel? I fucking am so upset that in that clip he goes, comedians don't have that pull. We saw that they do in 2024. Objectively, they do. Especially in a landscape of online clips and short-form media. Of course they fucking do.
Yeah, that was a shitty thing to say. I don't even know how he meant it. I just know he was on America's Got Talent. I don't know what the fuck he does. But
Deal or No Deal.
And he was on America's Got Talent. Oh yeah, Deal or No Deal. Shit, you're right. He was on Deal or No Deal.
That's what I know him from.
But putting to the side that, let's just say they didn't have power in 2024, which I don't agree with. You still have a platform, and you're still choosing what you're saying on that platform, period. You can say we don't have that kind of power, but you do have something. What are you doing with something? I know what Bill Burr's doing. There's a lot of people out there that don't really like him right now because it feels like he's going political. No, he's been saying the same shit he always has. You're just upset because now Trump's in power and it feels like a criticism. So, yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a little bit more explicit about it now, but if you don't think...
I think because the threat is realer than it's been. But go ahead, sorry.
That's been the heartbeat of, like, his political commentary for so long, though. And I will say, Bill Burr did shit on, quote-unquote, some aspects of the woke left, too.
Not some.
But, like...
Definitely.
A lot of that is what sort of elevated him, but a lot of his criticism that he was leveraging was at a time when that was sort of the power dynamic, certainly online, certainly in a pre-Elon Musk Twitter, right? Which is why I think like there's utility to what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could also point to like that one or that few people back in the day when anti-woke started surging in a reaction to woke, and I'm talking way back in the day. You could point to some people that were also coming from that side of it, being like, well, we should have laws and rules around making fun of it. Like that's also insane. These two idiots talking here support people saying pretty much whatever, man. Pretty much whatever. Because you're going to live and die by your own sword. So people back in the day who would have said being mean should be illegal too, or this or that, like, no, they're dumb too. But in this day and age, that's not what we're dealing with the powers that be, right?
No,
and
it's not.
The same people that bitched about those woke people back in the day and claimed they were anti-woke are now woke themselves because they're the ones that want to control things and tell people how to be based on rules and laws. And they don't even see that. It's fucking insane. How do you not see that you guys were the snowflakes that you hated in the OG times?
You become the very thing you sort of destroy.
And I like talking to you and some other people because I feel like we do see that, but it's tough to... A lot of these people don't see it, which is crazy. But
yeah, self-awareness is a difficult thing.
It is.
I always start every single day with the thought in my head that I'm a piece of shit. So if you start from
By the way,
you only have
boys and girls out
go.
there, that's the right way to be.
Yeah.
Because I think, and we can have even a further discussion about this, in this day and age of echo chambers and social media and the internet, you can get your opinions validated no matter what they are very easily, and that leaves us to not self-reflecting. That leaves us to devices that allow us, in our worst part of ourselves, to be supported in a way that makes us not even self-reflect. We both have stories of coming to each other in our life about some dumb shit that we told the other person, you're a fucking idiot, and we moved on. Who's not getting that now on so many different levels? Because you can just go to the internet and see, oh, well, this guy also hates black people, so, like, there's my community, and I'm now bolstered in my opinion, which is a fucking shitty opinion. Like,
yeah.
But nobody's there. Like, well, there are people there, but you don't have, you know, it's so much easier to just... It always makes me think of this Vice documentary. It hit me so hard. They did it on incels, and they were interviewing this guy in his room who was on unemployment, and all he did was wake up and get in incel chat communities every day and just chat with other incels. Like hardcore, like dangerous incels. Not just like unassuming, but they have weird beliefs day to day. These people were dangerous, and they would log on and say hateful shit. And it's just like, I remember thinking to myself, like, if you don't have this device, this computer, you would have people in your life all around you telling you, like, hey, you need to self-reflect. This doesn't make sense. And he doesn't have that. And then the reason why it hits so hard is because right at the end of the segment, it flashes on the screen that he took his life, like, not long after.
Yes.
And it just sucks because, like, I went from hating him. I shouldn't say that. We shouldn't hate anyone. I went from loathing his experience and his existence because of what he was to when he took his life, kind of reflecting on my own, saying, like, these things are bad for people. And there's a lot of people out there that would have otherwise been good with growth and learning in their life on pushback that aren't getting it. And that's sad. So it's...
No, I agree. And just as a quick clarification, I think as far as my memory goes, because I've seen that Vice documentary, it wasn't him that killed himself, but somebody that was
Oh,
in his
it was someone in the
direct,
group.
like,
You're right.
group.
You're right.
Yeah. But regardless, yeah, just to rewind a little bit, because I agree with you with basically everything you just said there. But I did read, just picking at this topic a bit more, just Googling, like, punching down in comedy, I came across Rowan Atkinson, who was famously Mr. Bean for me growing up. Incredibly hilarious physical comedy kind of guy. Very few words. But he's actually an incredible comedian, very intelligent person, and he kind of blew up my perspective just slightly. And I think I put his quote in the document. Mm-hmm. And I'll just kind of paraphrase it.
No, just read it. It's all good.
If you don't mind.
Whatever, just rip it
Okay,
off.
So he was being interviewed, and this is a quote from his interview in a 2022 interview in the Irish Times. He says, "It does seem to me that the job of comedy is to offend, or have the potential to offend, and it cannot be drained of that potential. Every joke has a victim," which is, and this is me saying this, absolutely true. Every joke has a butt, whether it's a person or a thing, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the quote. Every joke has a victim. That's the definition of a joke. Somebody or something or an idea is made to look ridiculous. I think you've got to be very, very careful about saying what you're allowed to make jokes about. You've always got to kick up? Really? What if there's someone extremely smug, arrogant, aggressive, self-satisfied who happens to be below in society? They're not all in houses of parliaments or in monarchies. There are a lot of extremely smug and self-satisfied people in what would be deemed lower down in society who also deserve to be pulled up. And a proper free society should be allowed to make jokes about absolutely anything. Which I think that last sentence in particular, both you and I would
But hang on.
Agree with.
I'm curious, just to focus on what you'll say next. I'm curious as to what made you disagrees with everything we just said. How does this disagree with anything that we just said?
Not entirely. Because he is saying here that even if people aren't in a position of power, even if people aren't quote-unquote part of the status quo, you can pick at them.
But we never said you couldn't. This goes back to what Marc Maron said. Is that his name? I think so. What are we talking about when we say in a proper free society? How many people in the UK and US are arrested because they made jokes? 0. We're in a proper free society, aren't we? So I don't know where this is coming from. Go ahead.
Well, just to clarify there, the UK is wildly different than the US as far as free speech goes. There are people who have
Fine, let me say this. It would shock me that anybody was locked up for a joke in the UK. Is that fair to say?
You'd be surprised.
What?
It's part of why
I'm not going to ask Google because it's going to give me an AI slop answer. Go ahead.
Listen, there are people notably who have been penalized for tweets on Twitter. But again, the UK, and that's kind of where like this, you take it with a grain of salt where he's coming from, Rowan Atkinson, because he lives in the UK,
right?
Because that is not objectively like they don't have a First Amendment there. It truly the rules are different there.
Okay, that's fair. Let's just keep it to our country then. Nobody's locked up here because of a joke. It's not a thing.
That's correct.
So
that is correct.
When people like him, who do exist in the U.S., saying the same thing, say it, I want to know what the fuck is happening. You just seem like a grifter to me because, or you're just upset with the cultural pushback you get, which is what Marc Maron said. And if you are, that's fine. Then say that. Don't say there's not free speech. That's wrong. That's factually incorrect. It is.
Right.
You don't like being criticized. Fucking say it. Just say that, and that's fine. That's fine. Nobody likes being criticized.
The first person that comes to mind, bless his heart, we love him. He's a great NFL quarterback.
He's my
Aaron
fucking
Rodgers.
second favorite player of all time. Yes, Aaron Rodgers. He's such a shitbag human being.
To ever call yourself canceled and to be Aaron Rodgers at the same time, I want to blow my fucking brains out. Because how are you canceled?
And I think a lot of people feel that way. Like, if there was a poll I could see on NFL players, he'd be so low. Because even people who lean or even outright right hear shit like that, and anybody that has two brain cells that still dance with each other say to themselves, but he's still a quarterback in the NFL. This makes no sense.
Correct.
This is ridiculous.
Listen, if I'm some Joe Schmo in Western New York and I'm hearing the words you're saying anywhere in the world, you are not canceled. If you're saying that in a very popular platform or podcast, you are not canceled.
You're coming off 3 of the worst years in your NFL career, and you still have a starting job with the best coach in the NFL. How are you canceled? You're privileged, actually. You're literally affirmative action right now because you stunk the last 3 years, and you still got a job. Just saying.
Right. So anyway, so just to backtrack again a little bit, because I think Mr. Bean, like, he's coming from a UK perspective here, which genuinely is a gripe.
And I'll take it as that.
As far as I'm aware. But even beside that, I do think that you don't have to be in a position of power to necessarily be made the butt of a joke.
No.
You have to be somebody that takes yourself too seriously.
Correct.
I think that's when a joke can land.
Yep.
Right. But when you're talking about a marginalized community that is objectively getting harmed by the people you helped elect to power with your jokes, and you're still making jokes at the expense of that community, I think you're a fucking hack. Yep. I don't think you're funny. I don't think you're clever.
To thread that needle in a way where your talent has to be unbelievable. Your talent has to be unbelievable for a joke. Right. Because it's just harder.
I agree.
Because these people are objectively getting, like, affected negatively. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's a real world feel to the jokes you're making in terms of legislation being passed. That's when you have to, because again, Joe Rogan is in a unique position. Mm-hmm. George Carlin never influenced elections. Joe Rogan absolutely did in 2024.
Yes.
That is uniquely a new power that comedians have. And I don't really know what to do with that. It's moved us into a new space. Because you're not just a comedian. Now you are somebody that pushes the needle in an election. Boy, that hits different. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like that accusation was leveraged towards Jon Stewart all the time. Because the right would say, well, you know, he criticizes, and then he goes, oh, I'm just a comedian, blah, blah, blah. And, like, that kind of didn't really hit, because I don't think he pushed the needle that much. But Joe Rogan definitely did. Objectively, he did. And the likes of Joe Rogan. There's a bigger sphere. What is his name? Andrew Schultz definitely pushed the needle. I can't even tell you who else. Not even comedians, right? Like, the conversation has changed. the media landscape has changed. Traditional cable no longer has the pull it does anymore. It is the people who can put shorts up on Instagram Reels and YouTube and TikTok and all the fucking like. You people have a responsibility now. You are the new quote-unquote mainstream. And I think you should take that seriously. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm falling too far from.
Well, and to take it seriously would be to because look, if you're Joe Rogan and you're starting to talk about more serious topics, which he has over the years, then you've got to understand the effect that has. It doesn't feel like he does. That's what I feel like you mean. It's just like you have this platform. Yeah. Joe Rogan says he's a comedian. That's fine. That's not what his podcast is. I wouldn't even call his podcast a comedian's podcast. That's not true. It used to be a childlike energy for learning and understanding the world that came off as very wholesome and people embraced it. But now it's just turned into just him talking at his guests, you know what I'm saying? Just saying the same shit, being so fucking continuing to complain about COVID-19, which who gives a shit? Who fucking cares? I saw this clip actually today. It's funny. Of Joey Diaz on the podcast a few months ago, and he brings up no, actually it wasn't COVID. He brings up the fact that like the Japanese birth rate is low. And Joey Diaz looks at him and goes, what do I fucking care about the Japanese, dude? Why are you bringing this up? He's like, fucking enough politics. He's like yelling at him. He's like, enough politics. This shit is such trash. I don't fucking know. He's like, I don't fucking care about the Japs. It was a little weird, but he's not wrong. It's just like, dude, who cares? Like, what do you want me to... Joey Diaz, a fucking Italian guy who seems like a wannabe comedian mobster in New Jersey. You want me to comment on Japanese birth rates? What?